Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are viewing this video. So you are highly welcome to the second module. We'll be talking about MySQL for data science. I'll start by introducing to you what MySQL is. Okay. When you're talking about MySQL, you're talking about tools that are used to manage database. Okay, tools that are used to manage database. So MySQL is a database management system, and a database, if we say MySQL is a database management system, then what is database? Don't forget we are talking about data, and when you are talking about data, data must be stored into a particular repository. So a database is a structured collection of data. Before you analyze your data, you have to ensure that your data is clean and is put to a particular structure, right, before you analyze it. So database will help you to store all kind of data. It may be anything from a simple shopping list to a picture gallery or the vast amount of information in a corporate network. So with the use of MySQL, you can add to your data, you can access the data, you can process that data. So all the records you've stored into the database can be accessed, add and processed. So for you to do that, you need a database management system just like MySQL server, and we all know that system are actually strong in managing large amount of data. Database management system play a central role in computing. Why? Because no matter what you are doing today, you want to persist your data, you want to save your data, right? So you can have your database as a standalone utility, or you can have it as part of a particular program. For instance, you go online, you fill form, Facebook, they use database, right? So whatever it is you are posting are saving into a database, right? Additionally, what you need to understand is that MySQL database or MySQL databases are relational, right? They are what? They are relational, meaning that we can create relationship between our data. For instance, we have user tables, that is a table where user information are being saved, and then you have post according to whatever the user posts. So the two are different table, but they have relationship as to which user post what. User table is a table or is a place where you save user information, while post table is a place where you store all the posts. So the relationship that exists between the two of them is who is the user that posts what. So that is what we'll be exploring in the second module of our program, right? Then the second thing I want us to understand is MySQL is a software, right? And that software is open source. MySQL is a software, you don't pay for it, right? But anyway, on their page, you can donate if you want. You can donate. It's not compulsory, but just a means of showing love to the developer. At least they are helping us, to solve our day in, day out problems. Additionally, MySQL database server is very fast, is reliable, scalable, and it is easy to use. You can also have MySQL server works in client or server. You can also have it as embedded system. Now, what are the things needed to participate in the second module of this course? So what you need to do, like I said in the group chat, you need to download WAMP server, right? I can just come to this guy and say WAMP server, right? Download. So depending on the architecture of your system, you can download a 64-bit, you can download a 32-bit, but these days I believe larger number of people are using 64-bit operating system today, or 64-bit processor. So if I click on download WAMP server, it takes me to WAMP server page and I can download according to my one. This is 32-bit, this is 64-bit, right? Check your system architecture for the right bit to download. So helping people on how to do that, if you open your my computer, let's see, this is this PC, you can right click and do properties. Then on that, you will know the architecture of your system. Now look at my system now. This is device name, the processor, this is my processor, right? And then system type is a 64-bit operating system on a 64-bit based, on x64 based processor, right? 64-bit OS, 64-bit based processor. So look at that. So that shows that I'm running a 64-bit processor and also a 64-bit operating system. So that is how to check the architecture of your system. And you can see that I have to download this guy. After downloading it, you have to install. Yes, you have to install it as well after downloading it. So the installation is very straightforward. All you have to do is click next, 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 next until you download or install the MySQL server, right? Until you do that. So the next thing I want us to do is installing Toad. Toad is just an interface that you can use to manage your data physically. Like instead of writing codes, you can use Toad to manage your data. I've downloaded Toad right? I've downloaded Toad as well. I've downloaded Toad as well. For me to install the Toad, I need to open my download. So I'll go to downloads, then I will locate Toad for my SQL. As you can see, this is it. I'll open it. Now I've opened it. Alright, so I'm installing the toad for my SQL. Once I double click on it, it will open and then the installation process will continue. Right, I'll click on yes. I want us to follow this installation process very well. I'll click on next, next, accept the license agreement, click on next. Now, full name of the organization. If you like, can fill it. If you like, you can leave it. So clicking on next, and then the location for the tool to be installed. Right, next. Now, common file extension. These are the extensions that you can use your tool to open. Data report file, tool editor, and so on. Entity relational diagram. Then next. Now it's installing. So wait while the installation process is completed. So don't forget that you must have installed the WAMP server before you install the tool. Ensure that you install the WAMP server first. So once the WAMP server is installed, you have it like this, WAMP server. I type that WAMP server. So this is the WAMP server. Once you launch your WAMP server here, you have it here. This green icon. This green icon here is your WAMP server. Ensure that it's green. So if it is not green, it means it's not working, right? It must be green in color for you to know that it is working, right? If you download the exact version I showed you during the installation phase, right? So the tool is optimizing the code, allowing the application to load and execute faster. So once this is done, then we can continue with our lesson. All right. So I want to share us what to cover, right? What to cover in this section. What to cover in this section. So we are waiting for this to completely load all the dependencies. Alright, we are waiting for this to completely load all the dependency, right? So still loading. Still loading. Now, for the sake of those that are just joining, we firstly downloaded MySQL WAMP server from the site, and then after the installation, then we then go ahead uh, to install the Toad. Now, after the installation of the Toad is done, you can see it's configuring the back. So I can unmark this guy and then start Toad when installation is complete. So I'm going to load this. Now Toad is loading. Now Toad is loading. Toad is loading. And the very first thing we will have once the Toad is fully or finally loaded is configuration wizard. Don't forget, I repeat, you must have installed WAMP server before you install Toad so that the configure will be done faster. Okay, it looks like we have an exception error here. Toad for MySQL 7.3. That is what is expecting 7.3. And I'm not sure I have 7.3 on my system. Okay, well, a new freeware version Toad for MySQL 8 is available. Would you like to download? But I can download it. So not found. Now, next thing I want to do is to set up the environment. So custom is not bad, right? I can do Toad for SQL Server, DB2 or MySQL if that's what I want. But if I choose custom, look at that. If I choose custom, I will have to pick the skin that I want, grid style, default, then I can choose names here and all of that. This is the way it will appear, like it will show your database. This is the way it will show it, right? So this is the way to show your database. This is the way to show your database. So next thing I'm going to do, right, is click on next. Now you have the Explorer style. If I want flat, you can see the way the flat is, tree view, drop down, tab multi-line, tabbed, right? So this tabbed or tab multi-line is not bad, and then tree view is also not bad, right? If I choose tabbed, so anyone I click on here will appear on the second tab, right? But I feel I prefer the tree view. Then I can click on next. So show connection window, show connection manager, Next, open a new database explorer, open a new editor. That is when you launch the tool, what do you want to happen? Do you want to open a new query? You want to open a new editor? You want to open a new database explorer? You can mark everything if you want everything to launch immediately. Now, very first thing after all that, the very first thing we have to do is to create a connection between our MySQL WAMP server and Toad. Don't forget that the MySQL WAMP server is where all the database of a thing resides. But why the Toad is just an interface, just a passageway to the WAMP server. So we are connecting to the WAMP server through the Toad. In a nutshell, we are connecting to the WAMP server through what? Through the Toad. That's what we are doing. Connecting to the WAMP server through the Toad. That is what we are doing. We are connecting to the WAMP server through the Toad. That is what we are doing. So, right. So let me create a connection. Connection. Toad is a software that we can use to manage our information inside our database inside the MySQL. So meaning that MySQL is a database. What we are using to access it is Toad. Everything can be done in MySQL itself. I'm going to show you as well, but I feel using Toad is more uh, short and straightforward. Okay, so click here to create a new connection. That's what I'm going to do right now. Clicking on it. Connection type is TCP. Host is localhost. Then username is root. Uh, we have option to create user accounts, right? So for instance, you don't want to manage all the database because if you use root, you're going to be managing everything, right? You will see as a root user, it means you are the top level admin. You can access everything. Okay. So if you have a database specifically, you can type it. If you don't, you can leave it. Then the port is 3306 by default, except when you are installing, you change the port. If you didn't change the port during the installation, you can leave it as it is. So the name is now going to be root at localhost. Category, you can choose a category, developer, production, test, or whatever. You can leave it as it is. You can save the password for later. So you can also ask it to start to connect on startup.